Did you know we all have a one-track mind? Men are often accused of this, having a one-track mind, but in fact we all have a one-track mind. And I want to share with you today how to improve misunderstanding. We've all been misunderstood. I bet you're listening to this because you'd like to understand not only misunderstanding, but how to avoid misunderstanding, as the title of this videotape introduced. I'm Michelle Moore Brady, and I'm a professional speaker and trainer of public speaking and interpersonal communications. I've been teaching this at the college level for over 30 years. I've learned a lot about how words can be misunderstood through my years of being a speaker and also a trainer of public speaking. In our few minutes today in our video here in this training, we're going to learn how to minimize misunderstanding and also what causes it, what creates the one-track mind. Now you have to understand that this is actually a longer presentation. I've done these as 4-hour trainings in which we really get into and delve deep into the subject of misunderstanding. But in a few minutes I want to give you first the cause of misunderstanding, one of the major causes, and then a few tips that you can use to minimize it. Number one, what causes it? The primary cause of misunderstanding is something called semantic noise. Semantics is another word for language. Language noise. People who misunderstand the words that you are saying because of this unfortunate issue. One is that words don't always mean the same thing to another person. So the words that you are choosing to use actually have multiple potential interpretations. Someone else could hear them differently because they either learned the words differently, are from another part of the country or planet in another part of the world. They could be a reason because of demographics like age or educational background or experiences. There are a lot of potential reasons why words can be misunderstood. Often they're jokes. Let me give you an example of semantics and how words have multiple interpretations that you might not be considering. One of them is an example of, by the way of joke. It's called the ketchup bottle. And in this little example, a mom and her daughter are having dinner. And if you've ever had a ketchup bottle that you can't get the ketchup out of, what do? You smack the bottle, right, until the ketchup falls into the front part or the lower part of the container in order to get the ketchup out. Mom and daughter are having dinner. Daughter hands mom the ketchup because it won't come out, and mom starts, banging on the bottle in order to get it out. The little girl goes and answers the phone, which starts ringing. And when she picks up the phone, you hear her say to the caller, "Mom can't come to the phone right now because mom is hitting the bottle." If you're here in the United States, you may know that the cliche, hitting the bottle, may mean that you're drinking an alcoholic beverage and the bottle of alcohol. The little girl doesn't know that, and so she says mom is hitting the bottle, which also sounds like mom may be drinking alcohol. There are two interpretations to the words. The daughter only knows one of them, and she is speaking in a one-track mind, because she does not know two meanings to the words. And unfortunately, she could be potentially misunderstood too. One of the most common ways that people have a one-track mind and get misunderstood is when the words they are saying accidentally have a sexual connotation, a connotation that is unintended sexually. A humorous one that came from my family is at one of my siblings' weddings. There were a lot of bridesmaids in this wedding, and I happened to be one of the bridesmaids in this particular wedding. And brides have a tradition. Guys, if you don't know this, I'm sure you've probably seen it or will get informed from your girlfriends or brides in the future. But brides usually buy the girls who are their bridesmaids a gift, and often it is a piece of jewelry so that they all look consistently the same on the wedding day. My sister, just like this, bought everybody a piece of jewelry. We had necklaces and earrings. However, we got them on the day of the wedding, and our nails and our hair were done, and it was difficult for us to handle the clasps or the hooks on this jewelry. So my mom steps up and says, "Don't worry, I can be the official hooker." The humor of that is Most people know that hooker is also a name for a prostitute or someone who works on the street. Well, not quite what my mom meant. She'll be the official hooker. She meant hooking our earrings and our necklace clasps. We have since teased her about being the official hooker ever since. It's an unintended sexual connotation, and she did not realize that she was meaning two different things when she said this. So there are many times where this can happen, and I'm sure you have examples. It's often fun in a training to spend time talking about these different examples. In fact, they're industry ones. There are specific ones to the context in which you work, the place in which you work, things that you know what they mean, but others may not. How might you fix this? I call it the RRRX prescription. The RX prescription, the 4 X's or the 4 R's are 4 things you can do to improve this. Now, you can't minimize semantics. You can't eliminate semantics. It's impossible. You can minimize it only because semantics is something that will always be part of the conversation, part of language, and the potential for someone to misunderstand is there. What we might do to improve it is starting with the first R, and that is to rephrase. The first R is to rephrase or restate your information. I explained something to you one way, but the words I chose have the potential to be misunderstood. If I switch it up and I say, you know what I just said, let me rephrase it, let me say it another way, I want to select different words. I want to select a set of words that are not exact because this way I'm helping you understand. When someone says, I don't understand that, if you repeat the same and exact words to them, even louder, that doesn't fix it because they already misunderstood the current words. Instead, you want to rephrase them or revise them so the unique new words create another picture which maybe closes the gap of the misunderstanding. So the first R is to restate or rephrase, same thing. The next R in it is to repeat throughout your presentation the most important point. Throughout this, I've said semantics is something that creates our misunderstanding, and we have a one-track mind interpretation of those words. It's due to misunderstanding of multiple interpretations that causes semantic issues. In my restating that over and over, you begin to see that that's my main point or my main thesis. Repeating it helps keep us bringing back to the main point so that no one forgets what it is. So besides revision, repeating helps. The third thing that you can do is that you actually have to get an independent review of your content. It's very hard for us to see semantics in our own communication because we've been around ourselves our whole life and we expect